I'm going to try not to talk too long, so this may be short. I know y'all did your homework from 2 weeks ago, right? You're supposed to choose 3 things. Something you like or enjoy, something you don't know how to do, and something you will need 12 months from now. Ruthie and I talked about what she's wanting 12 months from now, and we're not going to share that. And so, what's the next step? I feel like we're always trying to figure that out. Things used to be, I don't want to sound, well, it is a cliche. Things used to be so simple way back when. I mean, things used to have just 1 or 2 steps. But what happens now is everything is changing so quickly. As soon as you learn how to do a Facebook ad and you feel comfortable that you've done it right, 2 weeks later, they change some piece of it, or YouTube, or there's new technology that comes out. Well, that's happening all the time, and especially right now, some of that new technology has not proven if it's even profitable. When you look at a lot of the companies like Tesla, they're negative like $3 billion, but they're making really cool products and people want to know how to use them, and cars are driving themselves places. So our job, one of our jobs for Reynolds, Julie, and Allen is to pull a lot of this stuff out and present it to you in these business meetings, what we think you should be focusing on. And that's what we're doing today, is we've presented you with a lot of ideas we think aren't just fads that we won't be needing months from now, that these are things you should be focusing on for the next 12 months. And that's why we asked you to pick a few of them. And today we're going to talk about what is the next step, because y'all picked 3. You kept it in your little secret box so no one knows what you're going to do. We all have our little secret marketing tricks and business strategies, right? We don't share with each other, So, what is the next step? Well, first, you got to look at how much time you have to take on something new. That is the first step. If you want to learn how to do video tours of your properties, or you want to do Facebook ads, or you want to start blogging, how much time do you have in your current schedule to do that? Yeah, that's the first place you got to start. And we've talked about this several times. What is the significance of 168 hours? That's right. There are no more. You can have less if you don't do anything with 100 of those hours, but everybody has 168 hours. So Tom doesn't have more time than I do. Viva doesn't have more time. Jenny doesn't have more time. We all have the same amount of time. And so you've got to look at how much of your time currently is free. If you don't have any free time, it's going to be really difficult to learn something new. So you got to take a look at your current schedule and how you can free up maybe an hour or 2 a week to start doing your research on one of these 3 things you've chosen. And it's not fun to think about how you spend your time. Being an adult is not fun at all. I mean, it is work. Being an adult and self-employed is like double duty. And then having your own personal life, it is so hard. But when you start thinking about how you want to spend your time and what you spend massive amounts of your time on, TV, Facebook, I don't spend any time on housework. I should. Errands. You look at everything you're spending your time on, and then what gives you the most pleasure out of those, or feeling accomplished? You need to break down some of those things. It's kind of going back to time blocking and looking at what you're doing, because look, y'all, we're halfway through the year, and it's a good point in time to just reflect on what you've been doing these first 6 months, because it's been busy. We moved, we changed our name, getting adjusted to this building. Some of y'all just started your careers. And so you always take time to reflect on what you have been doing. And I really like this. There's an extraordinary power in knowing what you want to be doing with your time. And when you identify what you want to be doing with your time, that's when people really thrive. And that's when they get a huge return on their investment of time, because that's the biggest fear. That's why we don't try new things. It's because we're afraid we're going to waste time on something new that will not help us personally, professionally, spiritually, emotionally. You're making an investment. But that's also the same reason we recommend to keep it really simple. Pick only 3 things out of all the 20 things we've mentioned, and then really only pick one of those 3 things. So we're not asking you to take on 5 new skills. It's really just one. But I'd have to explain how we learn new things. These are the 3 ways that most human beings learn. This is actually pronounced oral. So oral, visual, and kinesthetic. Visual, people learn by what? They learn by seeing, they learn by looking. So you can pretty much just associate visual with YouTube or just watching somebody do it, following them around. That's the beauty of YouTube. You want to learn how to do something? I read an article last night in Golf Digest. And I could actually call Marty's dad because I know he could do it. But if I don't know Marty or his dad, I can go on YouTube and learn how to build my own golf simulator driving range in my garage. There's hundreds of videos on it. But if I want to have a personal relationship, I could call Marty, get in touch with his dad, and maybe his dad would come down and help me do it, and that would probably be a lot more fun interacting with someone face-to-face that's done it. But if you're a visual learner, just go to YouTube. You can learn almost about anything there, and it's free. But it takes time to find what's on there. Oral is learning by hearing and listening. Podcast, books on tape. I cannot listen to a book on tape and retain any of that. I have to read it. I have to highlight it. I've got to make notes so I can retain it. But if you don't have time, if you spend several hours driving in the car each day, maybe you want to download a podcast that's focused on the topic that you want to learn more about. And kinesthetic is learning by touching and doing. You want to learn how to shoot videos, home tours of houses. Yeah, you could watch some videos on YouTube about it, but to really learn, you need to get the equipment, go out there, play with it, and have a hands-on experience. So, following the next step, you've selected 3 things. Figure out how much time you have to do you even have time to learn one new thing? And then, you've got to translate your response into results. And there's 4 ways to do that. The way we learn, those are 2 of the most common ways we learn. But then you really learn by actually trying. And then third is you refine it. So you learn something new, then you go out and try it. You've read a book, you've watched videos, you've talked to one of us or a fellow agent, and then you go and actually try to do it. And then you refine it. You've got to review, well, was this the best I could do? How could I make this better? Did I spend too much time? Did I not spend enough time? And then you've always got to evaluate, because our business is changing so much. What you learn today may not be 100% applicable 12 months from now. Some of these trends may fade out quickly. But you've got to at least evaluate if that new skill you've learned is actually helping you. Is it helping you? If you become a master at Facebook ads, first of all, congratulate yourself, because that's tough. It's good that you do that. It doesn't cost a lot of money, but did it do anything for you? Did anybody pick up the phone and call you? Did they respond to your post? Did you sell any houses off of it? You've always got to evaluate how you're spending your time on business. So how do you translate all of those responses into results? That's what we spent 2 weeks ago talking about, is all these classes. Julie's had tons of training classes. We've had business meetings. You got to take all this information, pick only 3 of them, and really you're going to end up just picking 1. There may be, let me back up. When you're evaluating how much time you have and what you're currently doing, you need to evaluate what's not working. And do you need to stop doing that? Are there some things you should be spending more time on? But you've got to evaluate everything you're doing, because if you don't have enough, if you can't free up an hour a week, it's going to be hard to learn a new skill. And maybe that time's not right now. Maybe it's a week from now, a month from now. But you've got to at least start looking at your schedule now and how you spend your time if you really want to learn something new. So this is the return on your investment. In 30 days, if you start today, if you pick something today, this afternoon, and start working on it, 30 days from now, just by default, you'll become more familiar with the subject. Doing a little research, learning about it, just spending a little time digging into it. 3 months from now, you will have tried some things. You may have experienced some failures, maybe some successes. And then 5 to 6 months from now, why do you think in only 5 or 6 months someone will be considered an expert? It's because most people never get past this. Maybe the first time they tried, it's a failure. And they think that, well, it didn't work, so I don't need to try it again. You have to always refine and evaluate. We fail at stuff all the time. That's just common. That's what happens when you try. But you learn a lot about either how to do it very poorly, or how you should have done it differently through failure and successes. But if you stick with something for 5 or 6 months, chances are you'll become an expert just by default, because most people quit. They don't make it to 5 or 6 months. And it's tough. But I can promise you, if you pick one thing, you'll get a return on your time and your money that you've invested. Some of the things you've picked probably don't even cost any money. A lot of stuff is free now. The only thing that's going to cost you is your time. So you have to figure out how much you have now and what it will cost to free some of your time up. So what's the next step? We've already finished number 1. I hope you all learned some things from our business meetings and classes, right? If you didn't, you can go to our YouTube channel and watch those again for free. So we've learned a lot of things. We've seen it, we've heard it. And now it's time for you to try some of those things. That's where we are right now. This is becoming kind of a routine for us. Is halfway through the year, we stop and reflect on what we've talked about all year long, and we don't have any meetings. Julie has a couple of training classes maybe in July, but remember, there's no business meetings in July. Y'all are busy, going on vacation. We want to give you all a break, because trying is the most important thing. Most people don't even try. And the people that do try don't make it past 3 months. Just think, if you tried one new thing, in less than 6 months, you could probably become an expert on it. And afterwards, you refine and evaluate. So, I want y'all to all pick one of your 3 things. If you want to tell somebody about it, you can. You don't have to. There's no obligation. And start working on it this afternoon. Spend 20 minutes, 30 minutes. So just schedule 20 or 30 minutes with yourself this afternoon, just to see how you could start trying to implement that. Either learning more about it, what do you need, how much time will it take. Don't worry, everything we've mentioned in our business meetings and training classes is to help you with your business in some capacity. So don't doubt that those topics aren't relevant, because we spent a lot of time evaluating what's relevant for y'all today. We're grossly underpaid for the time we spend doing that. I understand. That was a joke. It's fun. The three of us enjoy talking about what are we going to do this month? What topics are we going to cover? Because we feel that they're all relevant to business. So all you have to do is pick 3. And today pick 1. And just know that if you try, it's going to help you in some capacity. Build confidence. Learning something new is always fun. Learning something new opens up your mind to think about how you could do other things differently or better. It could benefit you in so many ways. So we're going to give you the whole month of July off. And we'll be available anytime you need us if you need help trying some of these things or you want our opinion on how to refine some of these skills. Because we have to be available to help you all too. It's not just up to you, but y'all have to pick one thing to start with. And you may pick another thing 2 or 3 months from now. It may be something really simple. We went back. These aren't hard things. If you want to just pick something you like, that's what typically is the most fun. That's what gets you interested the most. We also want to challenge you to think about 12 months from now, what's something you know you're really going to need to have? Because if everybody quits at the 5-6 month mark, you're not just 12 months ahead of them. If you started something today and we flash forward to 12 months and you became an expert in 6 months, you're a year and a half ahead of them. Not just 12 months. Because it will take them 5 or 6 months just to become an expert, and you're already 12 months ahead of them. So to be worried about, well, what if someone else tries this? Are they going to catch on? If you let them, they'll catch on. But they have to invest the same amount of time, money, or resources to learn a new skill. So maybe you don't get a full 12 months. Maybe you get 6, 7 months ahead of them. Clients notice that. And I think y'all can see that now just with photographs. Everyone's starting to take better photographs. Why? Because they've either hired someone or they've learned how to do it themselves. Because it's really not that hard anymore. There are lots of programs that make it easy. So what's the next thing you need to be doing to establish your competitive edge when you're meeting with buyers and sellers? Because we're always trying to help you all stay ahead of the competition and look around the curve to see what's next so that you all can be in a position to get those listings, to get those buyers, and be successful regardless of what the market's doing. So just one. That's all I have for y'all today. Thank you.